guys! Welcome to my first book review, and the first book on my list is the first novel by Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen is a dystopian fantasy set in a land called the Kingdom of Norta. Although it's not explicitly stated, there are hints that this is actually a futuristic North America. The society is divided into the common class, called Reds, and the elite class, called Silvers, who have silver blood and magic capabilities. The story is told from the point of view of Mare, a red girl who discovers, accidentally but very publicly, that she also has powers similar to those of the Silvers, and is caught up in their brutal politics where the royal family decide to disguise her as a princess in order to keep a watch on her. To be honest, I wasn't grabbed by this book to start with. The opening chapter fails to paint a vivid picture and seems largely disconnected to the rest of the story. The influences from other popular dystopia are pretty obvious, and the main story itself takes quite a while to get going. However, once it gets going, it picks up enormously. The description of the palace and the gardens is colourful and imaginative, and the rules and limitations of the universe become much better defined as you go on. There are some really intense moments and some really dark turns. Although I think that some of the twists were foreshadowed perhaps a little too much, there were definitely a few that I didn't see coming. The book does a good job of exploring issues of social inequality and what can be justified in the name of fighting it. Morality is by no means black and white. At times I found myself questioning Mare's decisions and whether they really are justifiable even in the name of her cause. The story rapidly gains interest and depth as it progresses, although I felt the ending lost some of its strength as it's too focused on setting up the sequel to be a satisfying end in itself. Overall, Red Queen is a good debut, and the author seems to find her feet more and more throughout the book. Although it has most of the elements of a typical dystopian fiction, it manages to put them together with a fair amount of flair and originality. There's definitely potential for a solid sequel, which I will review as soon as I can get my hands on it. This week I'm going to be reading Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine. I really like the premise of this book, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading it. See you next week!